Hey everyone, I'm Chelsea with the Build Book support team, and today we're going to go over our estimates. Estimates within Build Book are found in the opportunities. So, our original thought with estimates is that they're a precursor to your projects. Essentially, you're going to have an estimate approved right before you have a project going on. So, in that sense, we've put estimates within the opportunities because opportunities are like your lead sources. This is when a client calls in, they kind of tell you some of the things that they're thinking about that they need, and then you can start doing things like you're estimating here. Now, when you create a new opportunity, you'll see some tabs up here. And in order to work on the estimate, you're going to want to click on the Estimate tab. One of the tips that I like to share is whenever you're creating your estimates, the stage is not automatically designed to move for you. So you can create estimates and leave everything in new stage. You can leave it in estimating stage, whatever stage you'd like, but it's not going to change it for you. So I personally like to move my stage to qualifying when I'm creating an estimate because at this moment in time, it's telling me that I'm creating something in here. I'm still working on it. Whereas once I've created the estimate and I've sent it out for approval, that's when I'll change this to estimating, basically saying I'm waiting on something. Additionally, within the estimate, you'll always have a little activity feed down here too. So that will tell you anything that you might have sent out to the client if they viewed it, those different types of things. Now, within your estimate, you're going to have a couple of different pieces of information. So, at the very top left corner, you're going to have a version. Whenever you start creating an estimate, your first estimate, you always start with version 1. Now, you can create multiple versions of estimates if you wanted to, but something that I like to tell everybody that happens is within BuildBook, you are only able to see the most current version of the estimate at all times. So even if I wanted to go back to version 1 and take a peek at it in the preview and share, it's never going to show me that version again because there's a newer version. And it's designed that way because we don't have estimate options here. Um, so we're considering that you're sending out this estimate, that it is a completely revised estimate or a brand new estimate to your client for approval, even if there's already one already. Now, as long as your estimate is not published, you will be able to trash it. So, for instance, let's say you accidentally create a new version and you had an approved estimate and you need to go back to that approved estimate. All you have to do is click on the little trash can next to the version and it will delete that for you. In the top right corner, you have a preview and share option. And then you'll also have an ellipsis menu where you can convert the estimate to a project. So estimates, again, are not a part of projects necessarily. They can be converted into projects. And all of your estimates financial information is what will come over to that project. One of the things I like to say kind of right off the bat is that as far as estimates go, um, they're not designed to sync with projects. So if you change something in an estimate, you create a new version, you do anything like that, it is not going to touch anything within the project. So if you've already converted an approved estimate over to a project and then you go in here and you start changing things, it's not going to carry over to the project and vice versa. If you start changing things in the project budget, it's not going to carry over to the estimate and they're not designed to. The estimate is kind of designed to be almost like your baseline, whereas the projects is where you're really going to get into the nitty gritty of the things that the client was needing. Each estimate comes with some information in it right here, and all of this type of information is what makes up the proposal. So an estimate is basically kind of like the financial portion of the proposal, and then the proposal is all parts of this. You can optionally turn on and off the proposal, basically any information that you want to in the proposal just by clicking on these toggles right here. So maybe I didn't want a cover image and team info, I could turn that off at any point in time. Additionally, to make it easier to work on information, we have these pieces collapsible for you so that you can really quickly and easily go in here, work on this one thing, collapse it, and move on to the next item. Starting with the cover image and team info, this is going to be where you can really personalize your estimate and make it super professional to that one particular client. So maybe I could put a photo of the Crash Schroeder lot here. Maybe I want to put, since this is a new construction, maybe I want to put a drawing of what their house is going to look like afterwards. Maybe if this was a remodel, I'm going to put a picture of the family home there so I have it. Again, it just makes it really nice and personalized to that particular client. I can then go through and change the name if I wanted to. I could put proposal 4. And if I didn't like this writing or the way it was looking here, unfortunately, I'm not able to change that. I'm not able to change the color or anything. But if I just don't want it, I can just remove it just like so by clicking on the title block toggle and toggling it on or off. Additionally, this is a little bit about you and your company. So this is sharing with the client what you're all about and maybe some people who are working on the estimate as well. Next up, you have your scope of work. Everybody does their scope of work completely different, but it usually has some of the same things, which is kind of like the deliverables, the payment, the project details. It might have some things like phases in there, and some information like that. This scope of work, as well as this contract information, this does not carry over to the project, and it's not designed to. Again, this is really just because we want you to have this information available in your estimate, and something that you can reflect back on later, but it's not really pertinent to the project after that point, and so we just don't use it within the project. Additionally, you'll have the contract, which you can also, just like the scope of work, add here as a templatized kind of feature. So the way I have mine is you'll notice that I have a whole bunch of blank spaces that I can just go in and fill in at any point in time. You can also carry this over from a PDF or like a Word document or something like that. But one of the things I like to tell everybody is that as far as formatting, it is not designed to be formatted like any of those documents. So you'll notice that we do have some formatting options up here in any of the scope of work or the contract details. But again, most of those options are just kind of for you to keep track. You'll notice that sometimes some of these options won't even carry over to the proposal because they're just not supported. And they're really more for you so that you can kind of make sure everything looks okay. Additionally, the scope of work, the cover image and team info, and the contract can all be defaulted. So they can all be templatized, and then you can actually add them to your default estimate settings. So if you want to, you can click on the cover image and team info if you're in the estimate and click on estimate settings here. Or you can always click on your avatar, click on settings, and go to your estimate settings right here. Now, the default estimate settings that you can add are your cover image, your about us info, your team information right here if you wanted to. You can add in a scope of work, and again, you can kind of format it how you'd like to. And then you can add in your contract as well. Once you add or adjust information in these areas, you want to click on Save Changes, which will turn blue in the top right corner. And additionally, these changes will only reflect on new estimates. They're not going to reflect on any of the current estimates that you have going on right now. Finally, for the estimate body, this is really simple. It's really easy to create an estimate on the fly by either adding items from your price book or even just clicking on add a line item really quickly. You can click there and basically create line items. You can use your cost codes to associate those line items to. So again, cost codes are kind of like the account that these items go to or that they're tracked in. You can set a type, you can choose a unit. You'll notice that there's a tax right here that's a percentage. If you have chosen your estimated tax down here, this will actually turn it to a checkbox. You'll have a quantity, unit cost, everything that a normal item would have within BuildBook. You're also able to add from Pricebook, so this is going to pull up your entire Pricebook for you so that you can click on items to add. You can also select items that have been grouped within their tags. So for example, this is a new construction. Maybe I want to add everything in here that's a new construction. One of the things that this won't do is it's not going to, when you choose on new construction or any other tag, it's not going to condense lists for you. And we've done that very purposely because you may need items from new construction, but you may also need something from, major remodeling, or you might see something that doesn't have a tag that you really do need to add. You can just click on those items additionally, whereas every other one is selected for you. And then down at the very bottom, you can add those items if you'd like to. If you don't want to, you can deselect all or select all items here as well. And then finally, something that makes this a really nice feature is we have copy from another estimate. So although we don't have estimate templates, you can actually templatize a lot of what you do for estimates. So again, you'll have those default settings right here so that you don't have to essentially add in the same information each time for like the cover image, scope of work, and contract. But for the estimate, if you wanted to, you could copy information over from another estimate that's similar, or if it helps, you can also basically create kind of like templates like I have. So I've already created an estimate in here for new construction that has everything I might need for a new construction project in here. Same thing with my kitchen remodel, my bathroom remodel. I've already kind of created something that already has all of the items that I might need for those particular projects. And essentially what that does is it just helps expedite the process to create that estimate. All you have to do is click on copy from another estimate and you'll be able to choose any of the new qualifying, estimating, or one estimates here. You won't be able to choose anything from lost or archived estimates. Once you've created an estimate, you'll be able to choose the view that you see. So if you don't like a spreadsheet view and working in items just like this, you can always change it over to your category view that shows up just like this. And it just gives you a little bit more information and a difference of view. Like all of our budgets, you're able to add a management fee. And then finally down here is where you can set your tax rate. Tax rates are automatically added in your settings, and you want to create those in your settings in the financials with the tax rates. Once you choose a tax rate, what you'll notice is that anything that had a tax with a percentage will turn to a checkbox. And the reason is because this is already adding the percentage for you. All you have to do is check the item that it's taxed. Within the estimate, you'll also have a payment schedule. Again, this payment schedule is not designed to carry over to the project. This payment schedule is really just allowing your client to see when payments might be due and how much they might be. As far as estimating goes, payments and things like that are also an estimate. So if things change, that's why we don't bring this payment schedule over to the project, because they might change and you might want to change that within the project and you won't have the ability to do that here. So this payment schedule could become null and void in the sense that you're adjusting items in your actual project that don't match this schedule anymore. Additionally, you'll have some attachments right here. You can add your drawings. You can add any kind of evidence that you need for the particular project itself. Or additionally, if you are going to try to do some estimate options like good, better, best options, what you can do is when you're creating these estimates and you click on preview and share, you'll publish the first estimate and then you'll basically pull that off as a PDF. Then you can go and create a next version, which might be your better version. You can preview and share, publish that again, and pull that off as a PDF. And finally, you want to create version 3 that has the best option in it. Again, you'll do the exact same thing, but this time you can add those other two estimates as attachments, as a good attachment, a better attachment, and then this estimate is the best attachment. Whatever you'd like to do there, you can do it here, but just know the client will only be able to approve or decline the most recent current version of the estimate. And then finally down here, you have an approval. So you can type your company's name, your full name in here and sign it. If you don't want to use the already pre-populated thing, then you can just draw your signature down here. And then once your client approves this and signs it, you'll also see the client signature along with some other information. When was it signed? What was the date? And what was the IP address? And again, finally down here, you have a little bit of an activity feed that shows you when things were emailed out, if somebody was able to open up that email, and any other things that you might need as far as looking at information in the activity feed. Within Preview and Share, you also have a client visibility. So like most things in BuildBook, we allow you to choose the options that you want to share with your client. And this basically just shows the different types of summary or detailed financial options. So this isn't going to do necessarily anything to the scope of work, but it definitely will do things down here. So maybe I didn't want to see, or I didn't want my client to see anything else other than a total price. They might see a line item name and then a total price here. I can change that at any point in time by using my client visibility and rechanging that back to detailed if I don't like it. Oops. And then finally up here, you'll have a publish button. Once you publish an estimate, that will change it to a shareable estimate. Only published estimates are able to be shared. So in that case, you'll be able to share an estimate via email, copy the link to the estimate so you can send it out in another email or via text message, print, or save as a PDF. Once I'm done estimating everything, I do again, like I said, turn this over into estimating so that I know I have something being worked on right now. And that will show up differently here in my Kanban view for the opportunities. Hopefully this overview was a little bit helpful, and if you want a deeper dive into how to create estimates or share estimates, definitely go check out our articles about that. But if you need any help, click on the question mark help icon in the top right corner, and as always, happy building.